Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This is Yahudia today coming with you on this beautiful Shabbat with my family, bringing out today, Ye are Elohim, made in his image. This lesson was inspired by my husband. We were talking a little bit earlier today, this week. What was we talking about that brought up the made in his image? We was just talking about
whether it's male or female.
whether it's a male or female image. And we came to the conclusion of what it was.
We didn't come up with a
We didn't
conclusion.
come to a conclusion. That's what made us do this study. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to do a little studying about, starting from Genesis all the way through the Bible, trying to figure out this made in his image phrase. What does it mean that we were made in his image? What do you think it means, Malachi?
um, us children of Elohim and the Most High,
Wait, come a little closer, baby.
um, that the that we are in His image, that we are the children of the Most High in His image, like in His wife.
Okay, okay. And what did you say, baby, honey, that you said made in his own image? What did you think?
Doesn't necessarily mean a physical image.
All right. So not necessarily a physical image, more like a spiritual image.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're gonna start off with reading Genesis 1 chapter, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to 28. Okay. Verse 26.
And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth.
I think we were supposed to be going 24 to 26. Oh, yeah, I said, what did I say?
26.
Oh, 26 to 28, my bad. Verse 27.
So Elohim created man in its own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them.
So I think this is what we were talking about. Like when it says create man in our own image, and we was asking was women, men and both men and women created in the image of Elohim. And I think it kind of states right there that he created both of them in his own image, male and female, he created them. And I know later on it tells that Eve was taken out of the rib of Adam, but it also says right here, male and female, he created them. And this is in Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. But we're not going to stay stuck on the gender thing because I think we both came to the conclusion that it's more of a ruach. Our image is more of a spiritual image of him, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I think we agreed that the Most High is not like a literal man up in the sky sitting somewhere, right? Like with arms and legs and walking around back and forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's read verse 28.
And Elohim blessed them, and Elohim said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth.
So when he made us in his image, what was our task, Malachi?
But our task is to carry the name of the Most High, read the Bible, and be faithful.
Yeah, and then also, what does verse 28 say? That we're supposed to subdue the earth and have dominion over the earth and over every little thing, every living thing on the earth, right?
Yeah.
So we're supposed to be like the managers of the earth. We're supposed to have control over things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not just supposed to just be sitting back and let life happen to us. We actually supposed to be the one that dictate the course of history and the course of the future and all those things. And also through the Torah, we're supposed to set the standard of what is righteous or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. So we, that was just the scripture that motivated me to kind of like dig a little deeper in what it means by man was created in his image. And whenever I want to dig in a little deeper when it comes to the scripture, I start looking into the Hebrew. And so in verse 26 and all the other verses where it says the word image, it is H6754. That's the word that was used for the word image. And that is the Tasad, Lamed, and Mem. You pronounce that whatever way you feel like it. If you're a super bro and know how to pronounce that, go right ahead. But Tasalam or something. Well, anyway, regardless of how you pronounce it, um, the definition of the image is what sparked my curiosity. So the Hebrew concept of image in these verses means an outline or representation of an original as a shadow is the outline of the original. So we're supposed to be like the most high shadows on earth and not like shadow people, but all shadows are black anyway, so I think that's a play on words too, by saying that, yeah, the black man is made in the image of Yah, but also no shadow can do anything outside of the will of the object that is reflecting. You know what I'm saying? So we're supposed to be like his reflections on earth. You know what I'm saying? Whatever his will is to do in a situation, we're not supposed to be over here doing our own thing. We're like, every situation that we encounter is supposed to be handled the way that he wants us to handle it. You know what I'm saying? The way he wants us to manage the world, the way he wants us to handle people. We are supposed to be working in unison with him. Echad. We are supposed to be at one with him. Okay. So that's what so we have an image as something as a shadow of the original. So when you look at the concept of we're supposed to be like his shadows on earth, then you understand that you were right. It's more like a spiritual image and not necessarily a physical image. Even though a shadow is in a shape of something that is reflecting, it also has more to do in Hebrew with the function of a shadow. You understand? Hebrew is more like a function kind of language. It describes the function of something. So image is supposed to function in replicating the action of the original. Okay? So when you step outside of that, when you decide that you don't want to be a shadow of Elohim anymore, you want to do your own thing, what do you think happens? Speak up.
You end up disappointing the Most High, going to hell.
Well, you don't immediately go to hell every time you disappoint the Most High, because the final judgment happens after you die. But if you get it together and you repent, then you don't necessarily have to go to hell every time that you disappoint him. Okay. Remember, he loves you. He wants to forgive you. You know what I mean? Okay, so moving right along, we're gonna go over to Isaiah 51, and we're gonna have to get a deeper look at this word shadow and its use in the Hebrew scripture. So when we functioning as his shadows on earth, it's gonna probably most likely have a lot to do with what was written in Genesis 1 verse 28, when it says, and Yah blessed them, and Yah said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. So it's going to have something to do with having dominion or reclaiming your dominion. Like when our people were in their fallen state, that means we fallen out of the protection and the shadow of the Most High, and we started doing our own thing, and that's how come we've encountered so many atrocities, and the atrocities are not going to stop until we get back in the shadow until we start behaving the way he would on the face of this earth. You know what I'm saying? Until we start being his reflection on the face of this earth, we're going to keep encountering tragedies. So let me go on over to Isaiah. '51. So we're just gonna start. We're gonna read this chapter from the beginning. Okay. And then we're gonna pause when it gets to the point where it's talking about shadow again. But this word for shadow is gonna be something else. 67:38. Okay. So let's read Isaiah 51.
Hearken to me, ye that follow after in righteousness, ye that seek Yahuwah, look unto the rock whence ye are hewn, and to the hole of the pit whence ye are dug. Look unto El Abram your father, and unto El Sarah that bore you. For I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him. For Yahuwah shall comfort Zion, he will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of Yahuwah. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation, for a Torah shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of people. My righteousness is near, my Yeshua is gone forth, and my arm shall judge the people. The isles shall wait upon me, and on my arm shall they trust. Lift up your eyes to the heavens, and look upon the earth beneath, for the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the air and the earth shall wax old. I can't see. Wax old like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my Yeshua shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Hearken unto me, ye that know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my Torah. Fear ye not the reproach of men, neither be ye afraid of their revelings. For the moth shall eat them up like a garment, and the worm shall eat them up like wool. But my righteousness shall be forever, and my Yeshua from generation to generation. Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of Yahuwah, awake as in the ancient days, in the generations of Eol. Are you not it that has cut Rishay? What's that, Rakab?
Rahab.
Has cut Rahab.
Yeah, Rahab.
And wounded the dragon. Are you not which has dried the sea, the waters of the great deep, that has made the depths of the sea a way for the ransom Passover? Therefore, the redeemed of Yahuwah shall return and come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away. Even I am that confronts you, who are you, that you shall be afraid of a man that shall die, and of the son of Adam, which shall be made as grass. And forget Yahuwah your maker, that has stretched forth the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth, and have feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor, as he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor? The captive exile hastens that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in pit, nor that his bread should fail. But I am Yahuwah Elohika, that divided the sea, whose waves roared. Yahuwah Sabaoth is his name. And I have put my words in your mouth, and I have covered you in the shadow of my hand, that I may plant the heavens and lay foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, you are my people.
Okay, so who is this scripture written for? It's written to Zion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you remember that when I did the lesson on Zion, it's almost like it's like another name for like the children of David, because you know, remember that the Most High had made a covenant with the house of David and all of his descendants, that he made a specific covenant with the children of the seed of David would not be destroyed, that they will be preserved until the end of days. So what he's saying is that he's gonna make Zion his shadow. He would cover Zion in the shadow of his hand and say, you are my people. And as we found out through some various research, that the children of Israel in America, there's proof that we are from the house of David. Okay. So when he says that I have put my words in your mouth and I have covered you in the shadow of my hand, that I may plant the heavens and lay the foundation of the earth, and say unto Zion, you are my people. When he says that I have covered you in the shadow of my hand, he's saying that you're going to dwell in my shadow, which means you're going to be made in my image. And when you start functioning the way I created you to be, then you will be able to achieve your purpose in this earth, which is to subdue the land, basically get everything together, put things in order. As you notice that the whole world is always watching what Black Americans are doing, and that's going to determine whose favorite team is going to be for the season, what the favorite music trend is going to be, what the favorite fashion of the decade is going to be. Everybody's always looking to us. So just how much more if we are like walking in righteousness, how much the world would change if they follow in righteousness after us. We cannot complain about how the heathens are carrying on out here if we are not walking in our function. You understand what I'm saying? So when you have the word, so this word for image right here in this passage in Isaiah 51:16, it may be a different word from it's just only slightly different from the word that was used in shadow in Genesis. It's just missing the mem, because the shadow in Genesis was Tasad Lamed Mem, and the word shadow in Isaiah 51:16 is just Tasad Lamed. So it still means shadow, defense, and shade. Okay. So he's saying that when you become when you dwell in my shadow, when you're made in my image, that's when you're able to do all things. Okay. So you got to be his shadow. You got to walk in his shadow. You got to be in his shadow to ever function in this world. As long as we are always out here counting on all of these, Black Power movement and ADOS and civil rights movement and your favorite politician to deliver you, nothing will never change. It's just going to be more of the same year after year. But when you start walking into his righteousness, and he says, and you become his righteousness, his arms shall judge the people. Okay, we are his arms on earth. We are the one who's supposed to be doing his work on earth. You remember arms in ancient Hebrew, that's a yod. So you got yod, hey, wahe, Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? So the Hebrew letter for yod is an arm. So when he said we're his arms, we're actually incorporating his name into us. You know what I'm saying? So y'all get it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to run over to Isaiah 49. Okay. Isaiah 49.
Listen, O owls, unto me, and hearken, ye people from far. Yahuwah has called me from the womb. From the belly of my mother has he made mention of my name. And he has made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand has he hid me, and made me a polished shaft. In his quiver has he hid me.
Okay, so when you are in the shadow of his hand, when you're in his reflection, when you're in his image, when you are dwelling in under his shadow, which means that wherever he goes, you go. Wherever he moves, you move. Okay, you can't be in somebody's shadow and doing your own thing, can you?
Mm-mm.
What about you, Malachi? Can you walk in somebody's shadow and have your own agenda about where you want to go and what you want to do? What do most people in life want to do? They want to do their own thing, right? When they wake up in the morning, they want to go exactly where they want to go and they want to do exactly what they want to do. Do you think a person like that is operating as a shadow of Elohim? Okay. See, he would when you are functioning as a shadow, your mouth will be like a sharp sword. Your number one weapon would be your words. He operate his power on earth through words, his written word and spoken word. Okay, so unless you're under the shadow of his hand, under his control, in his image, you will not have any function or power on this earth. Okay, he has made me as a polished shaft. A polished shaft is something kind of weapon that you use to fight with somebody. So that's how he would be able to look at you as a strong piece of metal to help, wage war in this world. Without him, you're just dull. You're about as useless as a paper airplane in the rain.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You're not gonna have any use for him. Okay. And it says, in his quiver, he has hid me. So you know what a quiver is? I think that's like kind of like the little slide thing in the side of somebody's belt where they slide they knife, they sword into. Do you know what a quiver is? Like them guys back when they used to sword fight and stuff.
No, I don't know what that's called.
I think that's what that is. Let's see.
I've heard the word quiver, but it wasn't that. So,
I mean, yeah, quiver. Well, this is Ashpa. It says arrow case. Yeah, quiver or arrow case. So when he's gonna make us his arrows, we just sitting there waiting in his arrow case, which is the Bible says quiver. We waiting in his case, wait ready to be used whenever we see fit. That don't means that just because you know what I'm saying, the word of the Most High, you go around attacking everybody, right? You wait for it to get your marching orders from him. Because if you go out there and do stuff outside of his will, are you operating in his shadow? Sometimes you're just supposed to be sitting in the quiver waiting to be used at a special time. Maybe you're not supposed to be out there attacking every day. You understand?
mhm.
He's waiting for the special time to use you. But in the meanwhile, he's gonna be sharpening you. He's gonna make you sharp. Okay. All right. So continue to verse 3.
And said unto me, You are my servant, O Yasharel, I in whom I will be glorified. Then I said, I have labored in vain, I have spent my strength for naught and in vain. Yet surely my judgment is with Yahuwah, and my work with my Elohim. And now says Yahuwah that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him, through though Yasharel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of Yahuwah, and my Elohim shall be my strength. And he said, It is a light thing that you should be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved of Yasharel, Israel. I will also give you for a light to the other nations, that you may be my Yahshua unto the end of the earth.
So he's saying that when he polishes you and sharpens you and form you into his image, it's for you to regather the tribes of Israel and also to be a light to the Gentiles. Now, when he says light, people likes to translate this word light into some kind of English word light, but in Hebrew, that word light don't mean that. That the word light means to put something in order, because they saw light is it's impossible to order things without light. So define the word light as the function of light. You can't do much when it's pitch black outside because you're not going to see what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Go in your room and try to clean your room in the middle of the night with the middle of the night with the lights off. You're not going to see what you're doing. So when it says that you would be a light to the Gentiles, they ain't saying that, oh, you're going to be shining bright and smiling up in these heathens' faces like that. That's not what that means. And Christianity likes to interpret that word light as something like, oh, you're going to let your light shine. And that means that you got to be sweet to everybody and kiss everybody all up in their face to make sure they know you love them. No, he means light means to gather things and put things in order in Hebrew terms. So when they say light, they mean you're gonna be a light to the Gentile. That means you're gonna get these heathens together. Okay, you're gonna gather them and put them in order. Right now they're out of order. Everything about these heathens is out of order. You know what I mean? When you think about them putting out this darn virus the way they did, and then 2 seconds later trying to scare people into taking a shot to protect themselves from it, they out of order. You know what I'm saying? When you think about every 2 seconds they killing one of our brothers unarmed, isn't that out of order? Mm-hmm. And look at Donald Trump. He's the epitome of being out of order. Somebody need to be a light to him. You know what I'm saying? Somebody need to gather him up and put him in order. In fact, all of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how nice they seem. Most of them are out of order. You understand? So that's just a little sidebar right there. So light to the Gentiles, that thou may be my salvation to the end of the earth. So you're gonna help save your people. You're gonna save the world. You know, people are waiting for like a physical Yahushua HaMashiach to literally come floating through the sky like Superman and coming like physically to the earth. When the Bible says there is going to be a ruach that is going to be poured on all of Israel who's willing to receive it, to be him multiplied on this face of the earth. So everything that he did while he was here, each and every one of us are going to be able to do it. Because he says, if you think what I did was great, you are going to be doing even greater works than I did. I just came to drop a seed in this earth and go back and sit in the right hand of my Father. And it's going to be left up to y'all to take that ruach and run with it. So the second coming is not going to probably be, he could come if he want to, but he's supposed to be coming back to a whole bunch of brothers and sisters that can do exactly what he can do. Okay? Mm-hmm. We supposed to be like the Avengers up in this piece. It ain't just one Avenger. How many of them is it? Numerous?
6, 7, 8, 9, it's a whole bunch.
Okay, well, it's supposed to be millions of darn Hebrew Avengers waiting to avenge these heathens when he come back. You know what I'm saying? It's not supposed to just sit back waiting on one man to do all of the work. It's up to each and every one of us, correct? Mm-hmm. All right. Continue reading.
Thus says Yahuwah, the Redeemer of Israel, and his Holy One, to him whom man despises, to him whom the nation abhors, to a servant of rulers. Kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship because of Yahuwah that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose you. Thus says Yahuwah, in an acceptable time have I heard you, and in a day of Israel have I helped you, and I will preserve you, and give you for a covenant of the people to establish the earth, to inherit the desolate heritages. That you may say to the prisoners, go forth to them that are in darkness, show yourselves. They shall feed in the ways, and their pastures shall be in all high places.
So you're supposed to go to people that are in bondage and set them free. That's what the Messiah did when he was here. He went around healing the sick, raising people from the dead. Our people was afflicted with all kind of mental, spiritual possession issues. You know what I'm saying? He was casting out demons. He was doing all that when he was here. Because when you're under the will of the demonic oppressor and all those ruachs are running in and out of the land, our people are more subjected to sicknesses and illness. We are when we are unrighteous leadership. Why? Because the food is going to be unclean, the music is going to be unclean, the lifestyles are going to be unclean. It's going to lead to a lot of health problems. And when the righteous, when the arm of Yahuwah is upon the earth, you're supposed to be leading his children, Yahuwah's children, back into a more righteous, clean lifestyle. Because he look at you when you're not living righteously as being imprisoned. And is it not in prison meant to be on drugs? Isn't it a form of imprisonment?
Mm-hmm. To be on it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to be on drug. What about alcoholism? Is that a form of imprisonment?
Yes.
What about whoremongering and running the streets, running up in everybody and catching diseases and stuff? Isn't that a form of imprisonment?
Yes.
Isn't being a thief is a imprisonment?
Yes.
In and out of jail, like you definitely are a prisoner because you're literally in jail. So when somebody's ruach is shifted to start striving for righteousness, isn't that a form of being freed from prison?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're around people who are still in the midst of all that, you could talk to them all day about the Most High. They're just not going to get it because their mind is still trapped. Okay. But once somebody is ready to be free, that's the only time they can receive these kind of information. That's why a lot of times I don't even waste my time anymore trying to talk to people if I could discern in their ruach that they're not ready to be free. You know what I'm saying? Harriet Tubman didn't just go around trying to free just everybody. She only helped free those who wanted to be free. If you happy at being a slave, she was gonna leave you. You know what I'm saying? And if you get out there in the middle of the wilderness and act like you ready to go back to be a slave, before she let you slow everybody down, she'll tell you to go back or shoot you. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're on a mission to freedom, you ain't got time for nobody to be holding you back. Okay. And that's kind of mind frame that you have when you are made in the image of Elohim. Elohim came to set people free from sin. Okay. And he wants to put the Ruach in his children so that they can set other people free from sin. Okay. This whole chapter is good. I don't know if I'm going to read this whole thing. So let's just continue for like a few more verses and we're going to move on.
They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall they heat nor sun smite them. For he that has mercy on them shall lead them, even by the springs of water shall he guide them. And I will make my mountains away, all my mountains away, and my highway shall be exalted. Behold, these shall come from far, and lo, these from the north and from the west, and these from the land of Sineam.
So the land of Sineam, they don't know what that is. Shoot, that could be America for all we know. You know what I'm saying? They literally do not know where that is, but it's saying that his children are going to be coming from all ends of the earth, waking up in the last days, even from the land of Sineam. And that was not even a known place back then, which is probably means it's somewhere that was not really known to be populated. Shoot, it could be Antarctica. They say Antarctica used to be a forest at one point in time. I was just playing. But anyway, it's going to be coming from even unknown lands, his children. But anyway, verse 13.
Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains, for Yahuwah has comforted his people and will have mercy upon his afflicted. But Zion say, Yahuwah has forsaken me, and my Adonai has forgotten me. Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on her son of her womb? Yea, that may forget, yet will not forget you.
So he says that, go ahead and do verse 16 right quick.
Behold, I have graven you upon the palms of my hands. Your walls are continually before me.
That's why I want you to pause. So when you are in the Most High hands, like you are engraving on his hands, like once he got his eye on you, there's nothing you could do to escape him. So a child of Israel can try to sneak and do wicked like everybody else, but he's gonna know exactly what you're doing, because unlike some of these other people in this world, he got his eye directly on you. You're not gonna be able to sneak and get away with stuff. Like when I was younger, I used to try to sneak and be bad like everybody else, but it seemed like every time I try to do certain things I saw other young people do, I always got caught. My mama used to always say, you get caught when other people don't, because Most High love you. He don't want you to get used to doing wicked things and think you can get away with it. He don't want you to get used to living that kind of lifestyle. And therefore, since every time I have to suffer the consequences when I try to do certain things, that then I went on and forced myself to change because I got tired of getting caught up. That's because I was graven on the palm of his hand and there was nothing I can do to escape his judgment. These heathens are able to eat babies and be pedophiles and warmonger around the world and rip people off and enslave people, because the Most High ain't really studying what they're doing. If anything, he just unleashed those creatures upon the face of the earth to punish the ones that's supposed to really be in control, because they refuse to take their position and because they step out of his shadow. Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to, because this chapter is really good, but we have a lot to cover. So sometimes you just gotta stop. So we're gonna go over to Jeremiah 51. Let me make sure. Okay. Okay, Jeremiah 51. I think for this one, we're going to skip down to verse. Let's go to verse. Let's go to verse 17. Jeremiah 51, 17. Okay, you go ahead and read.
Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by a graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, that in Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Yahuwah Sebaoth is his name.
Pause. So, like he said, this basically he's saying the same thing I just said. These other people, mankind on the face of the earth, they are very brutish in their knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Their knowledge is based upon idolatry and falsehood and all of that kind of stuff. They are vanity. You know what I'm saying? They're in error. He acknowledges all of that about them. So us crying about what these heathens are doing is a waste of time, because that's basically their purpose on the earth. You know what I'm saying? But he said that we're not supposed to be like that. Verse 19, he says the portion of Jacob is not like them. We're not built to be like that. You know what I'm saying? So when we try to live those kind of lifestyles, they're more detrimental to us, because we have a certain function in this earth. Okay. He is the former of all things, which means that his purpose was written in the foundation of the earth. You understand? When the Most High said, "Let's make man in our image," you understand? He was talking about the Adam and his children. You know, we don't know what else was on the face of this earth, the beasts of the field and all that kind of stuff. We don't know where these other kind of nations came from or what kind of hybrids they are of other creatures that was on the face of this earth. We know that they are part Neanderthal. So that's what I'm saying. I don't see, you know what I'm saying? So my thing is that the Most High has written Jacob's children into history before history even started. Then we have a certain purpose in this world. And what is that purpose? He is the form of all things and the rod of his inheritance. You know what I'm saying? Yahuwah Sabaoth is his name. Yahuwah Sabaoth means it's like Yahuwah, the Most High of armies. Okay, he's the one who's supposed to be declaring war on this world. The war on what? Unrighteousness. Okay, read verse 20. This is where we're gonna find out our one of our true purpose in this world. Verse 20.
You are my battle axe and weapons of war, for with you will I break in pieces the nations, and with you I will destroy kingdoms.
Okay, so what is the Israelites' purpose in this world?
To be in the shadow of Yahuwah.
And what else? You just read in verse 20.
Battle with him,
Battle with who?
the Most High.
Who's battling with the Most High?
Us.
We're not battle. We talking about the battle against the
You
world
are
with
my
them.
battle axe and weapons of war.
What does that mean, though?
We are what's to be used to battle.
Okay, we are being used to battle. To battle against who?
Other nations.
Okay, so Malachi, what is the purpose of the children of Israel?
The purpose of the children of Israel, the purpose of the children of Israel is like you said, like the purpose of the children of Israel is to read the Bible and carry on the name of Most High. And like what Father said, we are used in battle with the Most High.
Well, when y'all say battle with the Most High, it seems like we're supposed to be in battle against the Most High, but we're supposed to be going to battle on the Most High side against the other nations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So just read like a few more verses, like to 20 verse 23. So read 21 and 23.
21, 2, 23.
21, 22, and 23.
And with you will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with you will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With you also I will break in pieces man and woman, and with you I will break in pieces old and young, and with you will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with you the shepherd and his flock, and with you will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with you will I break in the pieces captains and rulers.
So, I mean, it seems like a pretty important job. I mean, you were not supposed to be here just like to shoot the breeze and do whatever we want, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, we made in his image. We are vessels created to wage war upon the earth. We're soldiers, right? So, we have, we're going to look at this word, weapon. See what the Most High has to say about weapon. So weapon has the same root word as whole, complete, and perfect. That's very unusual because when we talk about weapon in English, we're not necessarily talking about something that is perfect. We're just talking about something just big and brute and sharp enough to kill somebody. Anything could be a weapon in English term, but when in the ancient Hebrew concept of weapon, we're talking about a vessel, okay? A whole, complete, perfect vessel used for carrying and storing various materials. So when you become a weapon, you become a vessel that the Most High can use to execute his will on earth. It's talking about your whole complete being. You know what I'm saying? Any idiot could pick up a gun and shoot somebody, but he is not going to necessarily have the ruach to wage spiritual warfare against the enemy so that he don't even have to lift a finger. You know what I'm saying? Against somebody who's trying to come up against him. He can have, when you are a weapon of war with the Most High, you're a complete vessel offering up spiritual sacrifices to wage spiritual warfare, as well as, don't get it twisted now, everything wasn't just spiritual with Hebrews. Like King David and Gideon and all kinds of heroes in the Bible was known for what you call it, Samson. All kind of people was Hebrews were known for being militant, strong, as well as spiritual. Remember that in a few Sabbaths ago, we learned about how, they will pray before they go to war. So it's a physical thing and it was a spiritual thing. Sometimes all the thing they had to do was pray, and the Most High would just, send visions of chariots to chase them out of town. Like he did with Elijah. Elijah didn't never have to lift up a sword to kill all those people. He allowed them to have to become scared for the sounds of horses and run away without even having to touch them. You know what I'm saying? There's various ways. That's why he's saying that a Hebrew weapon of war is more complete. An idiot with a gun, you knock that gun out of his hand. Is he a complete weapon of war at that point? Or he just a regular man that could just be killed? You watch all these action movies. What happened when you knock the knife out of gun out of the villain's hand? He's like dead in like 3 seconds, right? But when you are a complete weapon of war, when you're a whole complete vessel of spiritual and physical warfare put together by the Most High, there's no weapon they could take from you, because your weapons are within and without. You understand? And there's a host of Malachim protecting you wherever you go. So it's really kind of hard to defeat somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? When they got so many weapons. You know what I'm saying? They have no way to physically block your prayers from being heard unless they have you in sin, right? Okay. So we are the ones who are supposed to be holding the world together in perfection through the Torah, the border and boundary of perfection, holiness, and completion. Okay. So some other words that are very, so let's just look at H 3627. See, it's a lot of words that coordinate with this word weapon. There's a lot of very powerful words that has the root word of kaf lamed. What in the world? That's 20, 36, 28. Must have passed it already. Completion vessel. Oh, y'all pass it. So this is kaf lamed yod. So the kaf and lamed is the perfection aspect of the word, and then you got the yod is the work. So a work of perfection. That's when you operate in perfection, any in completeness and wholeness in whatever situation. It says that word is linked to the word weapon as well as vessel or instrument. You are an instrument of war. These are various words that you can use in replacement of weapon. You could look at yourself as a vessel of war, an instrument of war, a weapon of war, a jewel of war, the armor, put on the whole armor of Yah. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what he's talking about. And another word that has the same root word as weapon is boundary, the ends of a whole. So when you got kaf lamed yod, it's almost the same word, but it has a tau in the beginning and end. And remember that Hebrew word for letter tau, it has the numerical value of 400, which is a covenant number and word. Okay. So you're a weapon of the covenant. Okay, you are the boundary which holds everything together. You know what I'm saying? You're the border of completeness of righteousness. You are who defines an area of righteousness in this world. That's what you're supposed to be. When you start imagining what he has envisioned for you, then you will be able to see how full and vast and deep your purpose is in this world. Your purpose, when you have a coloring book, right? And you have to color it in, you know what shape something is going to be based upon the outline, right? So the Israelites are supposed to be functioning as the outline of humanity, of what he wants us all to be like, including the other nations. You know what I'm saying? He can't even fault the other nations for being wicked if we're not walking in our function. What we want the Most High to do is only punish our enemies without addressing us. And that's not what the Bible says is going to happen. Okay? So, boundary, the ends of a whole. If any, okay. So, another thing about boundaries in Hebrew, when you think back to Moses at Mount Sinai when he was getting the 10 Commandments, correct? Nobody was brave enough to approach the mountain besides Moses because they was too scared of the sound of his voice, of Yahuwah's voice. It was very loud, like a shofar. It scared him to death. So they said, "We're gonna stand over here and we're gonna let you go up in the mountain." And the Most High said also, the reason why they was scared, they said, because if you touch the boundary, if you cross over a certain boundary towards this mountain and you're not sanctified or purified, I'm going to kill you. So therefore, they was, instead of sanctifying themselves and preparing themselves to approach the Most High, they just sent Moses up there. Like, nah, that's all right, dog. You going up there. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High is one who set the boundary and says, once you cross over this boundary, this is our purity over here. Y'all doing whatever y'all are doing over there. But once you cross over here, once you cross over, you know what I'm saying? Then if you're not righteous, then you are going to be instantly killed. So that's what we're going to look at next. We're going to look at next Exodus chapter 19, when when he was going up to Mount Sinai to get the 10 Commandments. So let's have a look at that. Oh, do verse 21 to 25. Wait, verse 20. Wait. Let's go from verse 17 to verse 25.
And Moshe brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with Elohim, and they stood at the nether part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because Yahuwah descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. And when the voice of the shofar sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moshe spoke, and Elohim answered him by a voice. And Yahuwah came down upon Mount Sinai, and at the top of the mount, and Yahuwah called Moshe up to the top of the mount, and Moshe went up. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, go down, charge the people, lest they break through unto El Yahuwah to gaze, and many of them perish. So he says, go down and speak to the people, lest they break through unto the Yahuwah to gaze, or to only be bystanders or watchers with their mouth hanging open, trying to be nosy rather than participating and not sanctifying themselves. Like right now, Most High started creating some type of miracle right here in this neighborhood, and all kind of like a burning bush or something, right? If you are not there to bow down and sanctify yourself before, if you just come to be a gazing stock and to stare and get a looky-loo,
He's saying, I don't want no looky-loos coming near me. Don't come around me just to be nosy because you think a miracle is going on. He says, if you approach me, I want you to be righteous. He said, I don't discern that these people are ready to be righteous. So I need you to go down and tell them they better stand back. They better stand back, because if they're not ready for this, they gonna probably, they ain't gonna make it if they come up to me. He says, okay, verse 22.
And let the priests also, which come near to El Yahuwah, sanctify themselves, lest Yahuwah break forth upon them. And Moshe said unto El Yahuwah, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you changed us, saying, set bounds about the mount and sanctify it. And Yahuwah said unto them, away, get you down, and you shall come up, you and Aaron with you. But let not the priests and the people break through to come up unto El Yahuwah, lest he break forth upon them. So Moshe went down to the people and spoke unto them.
So this is right before the 10 Commandments. So what you are seeing here is that the Most High is setting the boundaries here. But he says that ourselves, our being, we're supposed to be so holy that if somebody tries to cross a boundary on us, that they're supposed to be destroyed. But you're not seeing that with our people right now. You're seeing people being able to do whatever they want to us. Why? Because we're not walking in our purpose. So a lot of us don't have the Most High residing in them to protect them. So things are just able to happen. Like, for instance, I was talking to somebody and they said, poor little girl riding along in a car by Lenox Mall, a shootout happened by Phipps Plaza, and a stray bullet shot a little 7-year-old girl in the head. And a person was trying to be sarcastic and say, if the Most High is all powerful, what did that 7-year-old girl do to deserve to get shot in the head? I thought that was a pretty sick question to ask me, because for one, they was probably out there Christmas shopping. If you're not in the will of the Most High and you're out doing something you're not supposed to do, and you out here with Christmas trees and Christmas gifts and going to see Santa Claus and all that kind of stuff, you might be a sweet person personality wise, but are you in the will of the Most High? Or are you walking in his shadow? You're not walking in his shadow if you out there engaging in pagan holidays, are you? So if you're out there ripping and running the streets with your child, shopping for a pagan holiday, taking pictures with Santa and doing all kinds of things that the Bible tell you not to do, if it just so happened that some people are start a shooting, right? And a stray bullet just so happened to hit your child when you're out here, doing whatever, right? Does that mean that Most High is not righteous? No. That means that you done stepped out of his shadow. You're not being protected anymore when you're outside of his shadow. So when you see something real sad happen to somebody's innocent child, you put your child in a situation that they're not protected. Because let me tell you, if the Most High didn't, if you're in the will of Yah, I done been around all kinds of shootouts. I'm not dead. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people are dead. You know what I'm saying? The Most High has mercy on who he has mercy on. And when it's time to be judged, it's just time to be judged. You better hope that you get your life together before you get judged. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what kind of information these people out here rejecting that caused something like that to happen to their child, right? All right. So let's before we move on, let me make sure that we got the fullness of that boundary. Oh yeah, I do have something else to say about boundaries. Our number one enemies, the Edomites, are the border of, while we were supposed to be the border of righteousness, completeness, and wholeness, our number one enemies, the Edomites, are the border of wickedness and vessels of dishonor. So everybody has a purpose of this in this world, all right? Now, the Edomites have painted themselves as the picture of righteousness with their fake pope and their fake Catholic church and their fake governments and their fake Washington, D.C. and all that kind of stuff. But the Most High describes them as the border of wickedness, okay? So now we're going to one of my favorite little books in the Bible, not that really that long, just only 4 chapters, 4 chapters. But we're going to go to the book of Malachi. For you, Malachi. All right. So we're going to read verse 2 through 5. Book of Malachi, verse 2 through 5.
I have loved you, says Yahuwah, yet ye say, wherein have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, says Yahuwah, yet I loved Jacob? And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains in his heritage ways for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom says, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus says Yahuwah Sabaoth, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahuwah has indignation forever. And your eyes shall see, and he shall say, Yahuwah will be magnified from the border of Israel.
So Yahuwah will be magnified from the border of Israel. Okay, he's gonna overthrow the Edomites. They're gonna at a certain point in time, Edom did look like they was permanently destroyed, but they rose up through a new kingdom. Okay, when the Roman Empire fell, they didn't quite fall because they created the Roman Catholic Church, and instead of colonizing lands, they colonized the world's mind through the Catholic Church. Okay, but the Most High says you can rebuild all you want to, but I'm gonna throw you down again. Okay, because you're the border of wickedness, and I'm gonna do this to magnify, so my name can be magnified in the earth through the border of Israel. Okay. So we gotta understand borders and boundaries and all that kind of stuff. That's what the Most High is all about, defining the course of the world. Okay, and he was supposed to do that through us. Let me see something right quick. All right, so we're gonna go next to. That's why, also, in regards to these borders and boundaries, that's why our garments are supposed to have a ribbon of blue along the border, symbolizing symbolizing us being the boundary of wholesomeness and completion through the Torah. So, Hebrew garments is supposed to have a little band of blue on the edge and some little fringes hanging off. Okay. The fringes hanging down are supposed to remind us to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, and there's supposed to be a border of blue. Okay. The border of blue has a defined meaning. It's supposed to be along the edge of the garment to symbolize that we're supposed to set the boundaries on this earth. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna read. You can just read Numbers chapter 15, verse 38 to 41. Okay. All right. Speak unto the children.
Speak unto the children of Israel and bid them that they may make them
Tzitzis.
tzitzis in the borders of the garment of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the tzitzis of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you a tzitzith, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of Yahuwah and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go to a whoring, that ye may remember and do all my commandments and be holy unto your Elohim. I am Yahuwah Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim to be your Elohim. I am Yahuwah Elohim.
So it says that you're supposed to put these ribbon of blue or little band of blue, sew it along the edge of your garments to remind yourself as you look upon it, that and the fringes, the tzitzis, you're supposed to be looking at it and remember the commandments of Yahuwah, that you not seek after your own heart, after your own eyes. And that's what's wrong with our people, is that they're very, lustful and self-absorbed, on their own agenda, that they're not remembering that there are certain commandments and functions that they have. You know what I'm saying? There's every day there's a work to do as a Hebrew, okay? And you're supposed to be, and it is wearing those garments is supposed to remind you that you're supposed to be wholly set apart for Elohim, different from everybody else. You're supposed to be dressing different, supposed to be thinking different. Your whole function is supposed to be different. Your nature is supposed to be different. If a dog try to be like a cat and try to climb a tree and jump down, he's going to get himself hurt, because dogs are not designed to jump out of trees and jump on the counters and jump down. Their little feet ain't made for landing like that. Okay. But here we are as Israelites, we're trying to function in the world according to the other nations who are more or less built as vessels of dishonor. And we're like forsaking our function in the world up until, up until the point that we've become awakened, that is, that we're not functioning on this earth the way that he intended us to be. Okay. So let's look at this color blue. Why is the ribbon blue? Why do y'all think the ribbon is blue? The meaning of blue is perfection. You are correct. Ding, 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 ding. Because the actual definition of the word blue, the root word of the color blue, trying to find it here. It's right here, blue. It has the kaf and a lamed, which is the root word for the word complete and whole. And then you got you have the tau in the beginning and the end, just like boundary. So boundary and blue is like practically the same word. It's just that the word boundary has a yod in it. So it's like an action word. So blue is the color and boundary is the action of the color blue. It's funny, right? All right. So there you go. The Most High is not playing out here. He wants not only us to be reminded of our function in the way we eat, the way we pray, the way we live, the way we dress. Everything is supposed to be like living out your purpose all together for the Most High God. So let me look up this. I was trying to look it up before. One second. Sometimes I know a scripture, I just can't remember exactly where to go. Okay, we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8. This is something I forgot to include in the lesson, but I just thought about it just now. I always think about this verse, but I never know where to find it when I want to use it. So let's run over. Wait 1 second. Let me run over there. 32. 8. So So you said that Israel is supposed to be perfections and boundaries, which is why we put blue on the edge of our garments, or supposed to, if you can, to remind us to keep the commandments, and to remind us our function on the earth is to set boundaries. Just like the holy mountain had a boundary that you shouldn't cross. Nobody should be able to cross Hebrews like that, but they can. So they having fun with it. We can't do nothing about it until we start back keeping the commandments. You know what I'm saying? We could individually get protection, but as a nation, we're not going to be protected until on a grand scale we start keeping these commandments. But in the meanwhile, we're doing what we can to make sure our own individual selves are protected, correct? So read Deuteronomy. Okay, let's I don't want to just start at verse 8. Let's start at verse 4. This is a beautiful chapter. I love this chapter.
He is the rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment, and L of the truth, and without iniquity, just and right is he. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are perverse and crooked generation. Do ye thus requite Yahuwah a foolish people and unwise? Is not he your father that has brought you? Has he not made you and established you?
No other people on the earth had Yahuwah, creator of the universe himself, come and establish them and write out commandments. Everybody's just been trying to figure out their way on their own. That's the reason why their religions, they kind of make sense if you was only relying on your own self to figure this thing out. Yeah, you would worship the sun if you didn't have a Torah to tell you anything otherwise. I mean, you look at the sky, it's right there. You know what I'm saying? So why not worship it? You see the moon every night. Why not create a religion based on the moon worship? You know what I'm saying? But we didn't have to guess. The Most High came not only and spoke literally to our prophets to show us the way, but he helped create, he gave us his language to write it down and pass it on to our family members, our children and stuff. So we're the only people that he's ever done that for. So that's the reason why it's first of all, it's built up into our nature to desire these things. But if we do not want to be our nature, if we want to be a dog that acts like a cat, or a cat that acts like a dog, or a bird that wants to be a mouse, you know what I'm saying? If we want to change our nature to be something else, then you're going to get hurt out here. Okay. So go ahead.
Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and he will show you, your elders, and they will tell you. When El Elyon divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of men, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
So he set the boundaries of the people of the earth according to the children of Yasharel. So every nation that exists on the planet, where the Asians are, where the Caucasians are, where the Africans are, where the Latinos are, every nation that exists on the earth is where they are because of the children of Israel. We're the one who set the boundaries of the earth. That's pretty heavy. But when you think about how history has been kind of mapped according to what nation controlled the children of Israel, or who was in alliance with the children of Israel, or what their in their interactions with the children of Israel, it kind of makes sense. You know what I'm saying? The Spaniards and the Portuguese had a almost 1,500-year, almost 2,000-year history with the children of Israel, but the boundary stopped at the Alps, and everything on the other side of the Alps, like France and all of that, they didn't have that kind of relationship with the children of Israel. So they was a whole different type of nation. You know what I'm saying? And you got the Romans, they was only able to conquer certain lands and certain territories only after they was able to subjugate the children of Israel. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Ancient China only became a Eastern power once they was able to capture the children of Israel with the Arabs. and they started making trades with the Arabs for children of Israel. And then that's when the children of Israel came through there and started building up the wall of China and all that kind of stuff. And that's where you get the whole Buddha, myth came from, when one of the children of Israel had wandered off at certain time in history over there to China. And they say that the whole Buddha myth comes from an actual black man who was very wise that only kept to himself around them people. And right before he was about to move on as a nomad and move somewhere else, he wrote all of his wise saying into like a little book. And I don't think that's quite Buddha, but the Book of the Way, Chao Te Ching, comes from a wise black man that lived up in the mountains somewhere in China. See? So that shaped their whole spiritual belief system over in China, according to what a black man taught them. And Buddha also was a black man. I don't know much about his history. I just know that he was black. You know what I'm saying? And when you come across, because when you read Tao Te Ching, it's very similar to things that was spoken of in the Bible. So a lot of people are kind of speculating, a lot of Israelites speculate was Chao Te Ching Lao Tzu. Yeah, that's what his name, Lao Tzu. No, that's not Lao Tzu. Anyway, Tao Te Ching, that was the name of the Book of the Way. He probably was an Israelite, because there's some of the first samurai was black. So what I'm saying, when you think about the cultures of the world, and if you think about America and American Indians, how many of those tribes was either influenced by Israelites that traveled there and went back, or some of them stayed behind and made it with them or whatever. So that concept of us being a boundary of the earth is very true. We have influenced culture on every part of the planet, okay? And certain people click together based upon the things that they learned from the Israelites. You know what I'm saying? Or people click together based upon what they didn't want to learn from the Israelites. They want to say their own thing. You know what I mean? So it's just really deep when you think about it. So let's go back to the lesson. That was just a little sidebar. So we already looked over blue. So we were created to be complete, whole, perfect temples of Yahuwah on earth, as his images built as spiritual houses. Do you understand that? That we're all supposed to be like literally like little bricks. Each one of us are literally supposed to be like little bricks in a spiritual house for Yahuwah to build his temple on earth. So I'm saying, like, when you think about how heavy that is and how special that is, you can't help but to have reverence for the Most High for even like giving you such a purpose as that. You know what I'm saying? Such a beautiful thing. So let's have a look at, we're gonna read First Peter. Let me go. I'll be getting the other thing together without saying First Peter. First Peter chapter 2. Okay. I really resisting the urge to read the whole chapters, but I'm not going to do that. Can you read that, or do you need it to be?
I'd rather have it close.
Okay. Y'all are sleepy because I got a good sleep before I got started. That's why I be sleeping like that, because I know I'm gonna have to do most of the talking. First Peter chapter 2, verse 4. We're gonna do verse 4 through 9.
To whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but
No. I don't like how that started off. Let's just start from verse 1. Because it's just like, to whom come what?
Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisies and envies and all speaking or all evil speakings, as newborn babies desire to sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby, if so be ye have tested that Yahuwah is gracious. To whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of Yah and precious, ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer up the spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Yah by Yahshua HaMashiach. Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, Behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect precious, and he that believes on him shall not be confounded.
So Yahushua HaMashiach is the chief cornerstone, but we're all supposed to be lively stone building up this spiritual house. And, a cornerstone is what unites the sides of the two sides of a building together. Okay. So the cornerstone has to be very strong. And it's a lot, most time it's bigger than all the other stones. So yes, he is our high priest. He is like the author of establishing, planting the seed of faith in this earth. He's the one, he's the ultimate moray to break down who the Most High want us to be in these scriptures. He the one who came and broke it down, like, y'all been misinterpreting this thing, like going completely off. Let me explain this thing to you and what it really is. Okay, that's why he's the chief cornerstone. Okay, so he who believes on him and what he says through the power of the Most High, he who believes in him shall not be confounded in this world. If you operate in his ruach, you would never be confounded. Okay, verse 7.
Unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner.
So when he came, he was rejected. Didn't that let you know right there that most people's hearts are too wicked to discern what the truth is? Verse 8.
And the stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed.
So some people are appointed to be disobedient. They just don't have the genetic makeup to receive the word. You know what I'm saying? It's just not going to vibe with them. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to stir their ruach. These words just going to be like blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to do anything for them. It's just like a plug in from the UK ain't gonna fit into our sockets over here in America. You know what I'm saying? It's the pattern ain't right. But and our sockets ain't gonna fit into their plugs. But when you plug a correct plug into a socket, then the electricity starts flowing. You know what I'm saying? That's what the word do to the people that it's meant for. The people it's not meant for, it's either they're not going to have no response or it's just not going to fit at all. It's going to be offensive to them. Okay, so that's the reason why when Messiah came, some people loved him and some people absolutely hated him. Can you imagine? Hebrews argue about scripture, but very rarely, if not ever, and if it has happened, it maybe only happened like less than 2 or 3 times. Do anybody ever get killed over arguing about the scriptures? Not that we know of, but I'm pretty sure I heard about something that happened down in Miami. Yeah, it has happened before, but it has not happened. Most people just keep it verbal. But can you imagine back then, people were so gung-ho about their position and interpretation of the scripture. They was really to kill a man who created so many miracles when he was here. What happened? What's up? Okay, so verse 9. This is what we're gonna get to. Verse 9.
But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness in the marvelous light.
So we're supposed to be lively stones to build up a spiritual house of Elohim on the face of this earth. And also we're supposed to be a royal priesthood. So everybody is supposed to have a function and a role in a royal priesthood, kings and priests, a holy nation, a very peculiar people. We're not supposed to be trying to blend in with everybody. That's what the Greeks and the Romans tried to do. Every time they took over a country, they was always want everybody to assimilate into their lifestyle, their ways of thinking, reading their books, learning their language, be like us, because being like us is the better way to be. And you're supposed to give up all your culture. And it's so strange that the older I get, the more immigrants I meet that are grown now, that was born in this country, they have no clue about their country. So many Africans I come across in the workplace I know more about Africa than they do, because their parents moved over here when they was a teenager or a child and teach them nothing about their country. They don't know nothing, but they don't know the language. They don't know nothing. In fact, one African even asked me, I was saying something about Angola. They said, "Oh, is Angola in Africa?" I'm like, "Are you serious?" You're joking, right? Because you was literally born in Liberia. So how can you not know which countries is in Africa? I said, yes, it's just a few countries down from Liberia. That's kind of scary. So that's what I'm saying. When you come to America, all of a sudden you just so focused on being American, you don't know nothing about your people no more. But that's how it's designed. Okay. But you're supposed to be a peculiar people. You're not supposed to be trying to blend in and assimilate to be like everybody else. Okay, you're supposed to be the people of Elohim. You're supposed to be dressing different, you're supposed to be looking different. Different things are supposed to be appealing to you. Let's do verse 10 right quick.
Which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of Yahuwah, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy.
So before, we didn't have an identity. We were just black folks, former slaves, possibly, saying we knew we was African, but a lot of us, not me, but a lot of people just imagined that they were just taken from some random tribe that was running around in the woods butt naked or half naked with no written history. A lot of people believe that, especially from the older generations that didn't even get a chance to learn how to read. So how beautiful is it to go from being not a people to finding out that you're actually the people of Yahuwah? What a blessing it is to be alive at this time. So let's move on. This stuff be so deep. So this goes into like the feast of dedication of the temple. Not just a physical temple. You got to dedicate yourself as a living stone in Most High spiritual house. How can you fall back in love with your purpose or fall in love with your purpose? What is your purpose? Like, okay, so if I'm a living stone in a spiritual house, what can I do to contribute to the nation? What can I do to build a nation? Everybody is supposed to be a stone. Everybody, ain't nobody just supposed to just be a pebble on the ground next to that spiritual house. Because what I see is a lot of people want to push everybody out of the way, say, hey, I'm the stone. You just watch me build. You follow me and you give me your money and we just play church with a Hebrew name on it and everybody just focus on me because I'm the living stone and y'all have to depend on me. No, every single person. It is required. We're such a small, peculiar circle of people that in order for this world to change, all of us going to have to be priests. It's 8.5, almost 9 billion people on the earth. We can't have within the Hebrew community 5 or 10 or 15, 20 people trying to rule everything and have all of us look at them. All of us supposed to know this word well enough to be a royal priesthood. Because it's going to take every awakened Hebrew to be on that level to change the world. You know what I'm saying? It's not about just trying to click up a small group of people to listen to you every week. No, it's about the Ruach the Most I put in me, I want him to put that same Ruach in you so that you could do even greater works. That's what the Messiah said. He said, he came just for y'all to be sitting around here looking at me. He ain't came here just to have a fan club. He said, y'all Negroes supposed to be doing even more stuff than me. You know what I'm saying? If you get this Ruach, you get a double portion. Whatever I am, you're supposed to be twice as great. I would never want nobody to just be sitting up waiting on me to post a video so I can get some cash apps. And I can't stand when I hear people say, well, I'm doing the work of y'all, so y'all please bless me because I ain't got no job. Well, why you don't have a job? Paul had a job. He's a tent builder. Messiah had a job. He was a carpenter. Everybody has a job. You're supposed to be reading the Bible anyway, so talking about it for an hour or two a week is not supposed to be such huge work that you're supposed to just be sitting on your butt all the time waiting for somebody to pass you some money. Because then you're trying to subjugate people under you so that they can pay your bills while everybody is supposed to be on the level. You know what I'm saying? A royal priesthood, kings and priests, not just one king and one priest and everybody. That's a churchianity. That's a religion. This ain't supposed to be a religion. This is supposed to be the culture of the whole nation. A religion is when you sit up and listen to one man's interpretation of everything and run up behind him, like the Pope. You know what I'm saying? Nobody got time. These Hebrews be want to turn into little mini popes.
Mhm.
Ain't nobody got time for all that. You know. So we're gonna run over to the Apocrypha for briefly. Some people don't like the Book of Jubilees. That's on them. You know, I find that since it's in the Ethiopian Bible and it was Ethiopians are from the tribe of Judah, it's far more reliable, especially since it's preserved complete and intact from thousands of years ago. That I find that it's even more reliable than some of the versions of the Torah that we have right now today.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because at least I could literally look at the literal original copy and ain't reading a copy of a copy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if that's not your thing, they don't have to be your thing. I'm gonna go Jubilee 16, verse 16. What is it? Verse 16 through 18. I don't even have no Jubilees on here. I'm gonna have to do something else. No. You just read it right quick. It's only 2 verses. I don't think I went into the Apocrypha that much.
Mhm. And we returned in the 7th month and found Sarah with child before us, and we blessed him. And we announced to him all the things which had been decreed concerning him, that he should not die till he should beget 6 sons more, and should see them before he died. But that in Yitzhak, who's Yitzhak?
Yes,
Yishak?
yeah, it's Shaq Isaac.
Isaac, should his name and seed be called, and that all the seed of his sons should be the other nations and be reckoned with the other nations. But from the sons of Isaac, one should become a holy seed and should not be reckoned among their other nations. For he should become the portion of the El Elyon, and all his seed had fallen into possession of Elohim, that it should be unto Yahuwah a people for his possession above all nations, and that it should become a kingdom and priests and a holy nation.
So he says, um, Abraham is going to have only one son that will become the holy seed, and all his other sons will become the other nations. All his other sons will become reckoned amongst the Gentiles and the heathens and everybody else. He had 6 other sons other than Isaac, but only Isaac was supposed to carry on the holy seed. All his other children were supposed to just be everybody else in the world. You know what I'm saying? And Isaac, through Isaac's seed, is supposed to be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. As you know, Isaac had twin sons. So the Most High, generation after generation, narrows it down because this is supposed to be a peculiar people, a remnant. So as Isaac had the twin sons, Jacob and Esau, Esau did not get this promise of being a holy seed. So that just goes to show, even within a family, only one or two or one branch of the family tree may only be meant to carry on the Most High's word. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And everybody else just supposed to be everybody else. So even in your own family, you might be a little bit peculiar. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. That's how the Most High has always operated. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, he could have just said, Abraham, all your children all are going to be holy seeds, but that's not the way he wanted to do it. Okay, so we are a section of 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 a family tree, because he even narrowed it down even more than that. Out of the 12 sons of Jacob, he took the tribe of Judah to pick an even more specific inheritance. And out of the tribe of Judah, he picked the house of David for even more specific inheritance. Every generation, he narrowed down the promise to very specific people. Okay. So you gotta understand, it took a lot. It took a lot for the Most High to get the world to this point. It took many generations for his promise to be manifested. So Exodus 19, verse 5 through 6. So I tried not to do whole chapters of readings. This is 19. Read verse 5 through 6.
Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and guard my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak unto the children of Israel.
So he's saying that all the earth is mine. Even the heathens belong to me. Everything belongs to me. The trees, the water, the rivers, the heathens, the Gentiles, even your enemies belong to me. But you're supposed to be a peculiar treasure to me. You're supposed to have a specific purpose, okay? Everything belongs to me, but you got a special function. You know what I'm saying? All right. So this is letting you know you go from Apocrypha to, we done read it in the New Testament. When I'm trying to make a point, I go from New Testament to Old Testament to Apocrypha. And I love when everything lines up and say the same thing. We went from Second Peter to Jubilees to Exodus, and it was even more scripture there, but it's only so much you can say without, you know what I'm saying, repeating yourself in different ways. But I'm just letting you know there's a common theme throughout the scriptures that you are special to him. So, make it work. Don't take it lightly. This is the only one chance in this earth you got to prove the Most High if you're worthy to be even like called by his inheritance. Okay. So we're gonna skip into Isaiah 59. So when we don't function, okay, I like this chapter because when we don't function in our purpose, like all hell breaks loose in the world. I mean, just like heathens are like kids without no parents, So if they don't have nobody to pattern themselves after, they go nuts, and as you can see, everybody's always copying off of us. And I've been saying this from very beginning, ever since I could even remember, that it would be so great if we could like get everybody to copy off us in righteousness. Why is we are allowing our wicked influence to rule the world? You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine if everybody important was on the same page? And when I say important, I'm talking about well known, millions of followers on Twitter and Instagram, and the really influencers, if every influencer just all of a sudden that Ruah would just get in the court, do you know the whole world would change? And I'm talking about everybody from Obama to Jay-Z. It's not going to happen like that. But just imagine if that influence is used for the Most High, how like literally the world would change. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking everybody on the same accord. No coons, with blowback like they did Ice Cube. Ice Cube tried to be righteous leader, and everybody just threw him under the bus. You know what I'm saying? Nobody came out publicly and supported him. He's saying he's getting blackballed by certain things, projects he had pending or whatever, which is a shame because he ain't saying nothing wrong. But if everybody was talking the same thing he was talking, then they would listen to us. But we only got one brave one here and there, and that's it. So we're gonna move on from verse 4. We're gonna do Isaiah 59, verse 4 through verse. I don't know if I'm gonna go all the way back down. Let's just go from verse 4 to verse 16. Just read through. I'm gonna try not to interrupt so we could get through, because like sometimes it's really hard for me to just read a few verses in a chapter. When I put these lessons together, I read the whole chapter, so it's hard for me not to include the whole chapter in the lesson. Okay.
None calls for justice, nor any pleas for truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity. They hatch cockatrice eggs and weave their spider's web. And web. He that eats of their eggs dies, and that which is crushed breaks out into a viper. Their web shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works. Their works are works of iniquity, and the act of violence is in their hands. Their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity. Waste and the destruction are in their paths. The way of peace they know not, and there is no judgment in their goings. They have made them crooked paths. Whosoever goes therein shall not know peace. Therefore is a judgment far from us, neither does justice overtake us. We wait for light, but behold obscurity, for brightness, but we walk in darkness. We grope for the wall like the blind, and we grope as if we had no eyes. We stumble, and at noonday, as in the night, we are in desolate places as dead men. We roar all like bears, and mourn sore like doves. We look for judgment, but there is none for Yahshua, but it is far from us. For our transgressions are multiplied before you, and our sins testify against us. For our transgressions are with us, and as for our iniquities, we know them. In transgressing and lying against Yahuwah, and departing away from our Elohim, speaking oppression and revolt, conceiving and uttering from the heart words of falsehood.
So wait, that's what he's talking about, how the world is when the righteous don't stand up. It's a really dark place. I mean, you just weaving spiders' webs and stepping on cockatrice eggs. And I did a teaching on the website about cockatrice eggs. Cockatrice is like almost like a serpent bird, a mythological serpent bird. And you hatching serpent eggs. That's that serpent kingdom, serpent seeds. And the Edomites logo was a bacillus, which is a cockatrice. You know what I'm saying? So it's like very creepy kind of kingdoms pop up, like these darn heathens that keep ruling over the earth. That's what happens. We can't complain about how dark it's gotten and not acknowledge our own failure to make it right. Okay, so verse 14.
And judgment is turned away backward, and justice stands afar off. For truth is fallen in the street, and inequity cannot enter. Yea, truth falls, and he that departs from evil makes himself a prey. And Yahuwah saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment. And he saw that there was no man, and wondered that there was no intercessor. Therefore, his arm brought salvation unto him, and his righteousness is sustained him.
So let me get that. So Most High said, "Oh my God, all this stuff is going on. We can't find one intercessor." So let me ask you a question: who was our intercessor when the children of Israel was leaving Egypt? Who was the one who intercede for us? Do you know what intercessor mean? Intercessor is, yeah, it's kind of like a leader that approaches the person in power on your behalf. You know, like a lawyer in a courtroom. So he said, I can't find nobody to stand up and approach me to defend my people against these heathens. He said, all of this stuff is going on in Isaiah 59, and I can't even find one intercessor. Everybody say they love the Most High, but nobody's willing to come close enough to me to plead the cause. People are afraid to get close to me, so they just kind of like do drive-bys on Sunday at church and wave their hands in the air. You know what I'm saying? Go home and go about their business, but nobody's willing to come to the throne. You know what I'm saying? You just passing down the street, waving your hand out the window at me, but I need somebody to come in and speak with me. You know what I'm saying? Moshe was the only one found bold enough to approach the holy mountain. He invited everybody and said, hey, you sanctify yourself. You come up in here if you want to. And that's what initially in that chapter, we didn't read the whole chapter initially. He was like, oh, yeah, tell the children of Israel to come to the mountain. And the children of Israel said they were scared. They're scared. It's scary. It sounds scary. And then your voice sound like a shofar. Come up and they were like, oh no, Lord, those are the mountains. It was lightning and stuff, the cloud. They were like, oh, no, I ain't going up in there. So, and so they say, you going up in there, Moses? Tell us what he said. So he was not scared like everybody else. The Most High Yahuwah is saying that there will come a time when no one will be able to approach close enough to him to plead the case for salvation for Israel. So his right arm brought salvation to his inheritance, that he might stir up a ruach of Yahuwah in them to bring about judgment in the earth. Who is this intercessor that came? Who is the intercessor that came? Even starting from the Old Testament days, who was speaking to David? Who was speaking to Moshe? Who put that ruach in Moshe to even make him brave enough to approach the mountain? It was he sent his arm, his son. His son stirs the ruach and create these kind of bold men who are able to deliver his people. Know what I'm saying? And you know, it may have been 2,000 years ago when Hamashiach manifested completely in the flesh, but guess what? Even reading his words is stirring up a ruach in our brothers and sisters in these last days to be bold enough. Like, I don't care. Esau could listen to me all he wants to. You're gonna burn. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who's listening to me. Esau, you're gonna be destroyed. Who gives you that boldness? Who creates that character in you? You know what I'm saying? It's the ruach of Yahuwah that creates that kind of character. So we're gonna look at the word intercessor next. That's H69 6293. So so we got Pagah. Okay, Pagah. So we got the pay, the gimel, and the iron. Okay, so we got the pay, which is like a mouth, which is supposed to symbolize like your face. You know what I'm saying? You got a gimel that is like your feet. It's supposed to be symbolizing walking and treading. And then you got the iron, which is like an eye with seeing everything. So what you really are saying is that that word pagah means to come together in a meeting by chance, also to give a place as a meeting. So you come into a place of meeting. You don't have nobody to meet up with the Most High to discuss the case. He's like, I can't even find nobody that's praying for these people. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't even forgot my name. Like, how many centuries did the Most High name stop getting spoken on the earth? To think about it, you know, yeah, okay, they say hallelujah, but did they really know what they were saying? You know what I'm saying? And so, like, as far as like praying directly to him, right, with the purpose of communicating directly to him, was it even happening anymore? No. And then the Caucasian Jews, they refuse to say his name because they know his power in the name. They know he ain't talking about them, so they just call him Hashem. So you gotta understand, the Most High Yah's name was not even spoken in the earth anymore until now. Now we just say it all the time because, you know, as his children, we just be like daddy, daddy, dad, abba, 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 yah, 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 all day. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not scared to say the name because we are, those of us who are convinced or so thoroughly convinced, we know when we speak his name, we're not speaking it in vain. We're speaking to a whole lot of things that we want. We want to be the people that he said he was waiting to rise up and to intercede. We may not have many people walk up to the truth, but guess what? We praying on the behalf of our whole family. We praying on behalf of grandmama, granddaddy, aunties, cousins that's out there in wickedness, living on any kind of way, and nephews and nieces and friends' family. We're we're the one who interceded and praying on behalf of the whole nation. You know what I'm saying? In the last days, to preserve as many of us as possible. And those of us that we pray for, hopefully, prayerfully, some of them will be saved, you know, and get a chance. So we're gonna look at it. Pagah, to encounter, meet, reach, entreat, to make intercession, okay? To light upon, to join, to encounter. We are who's trying to encounter, who's trying to have a personal encounter. A lot of people don't even like even talking about the Most High. They get all irritable. You bring up the Most High. I don't want to hear all that. I got my own way of dealing with him. I just got a personal. They don't even want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? To touch, as in a boundary. So what he's saying it is that if you are approaching the boundary of something, that is interceding. So when Moses approached that boundary of the holy mountain, he was interceding for us. Okay. And also verse 16, it says, therefore his arm brought salvation unto him. Let me get back to the his arm brought salvation unto him. So who is his arm? This is one that's going to get really deep. I love when I run across something in the Bible that make the hairs on my back of my neck stand up. I love that. Arm, Zion, Resh, Wav, wait, let me click on this so you can see it. I'm over here moving along and not putting it on the screen. Okay. I like put it on the side of the screen so it don't take over the whole thing. Okay, arm. So it says that in verse 59, let me get back over here right quick. Verse 16, it says, and he saw that there was no man, and he wondered that there was no intercessor. Therefore, his arm brought salvation unto him, and his righteousness, it sustained him. So who's his arm? Or we said Hamashiach is his arm, but Hamashiach what am I trying to say? Hamashiach transitions, transfers. What I'm saying, he transforms us. Sorry, I knew it was some trans something. I know it wasn't transgender, but anyway, he transforms us into arms. You know what I'm saying? He was the arm that was sent, and he transforms us into arms. Okay, so what is his arms? Arm. So you got Zion, Resh, Wav, Ga. There's that Ga word. Remember that twisted dark man when it says we had said back in the lesson about Sukkot, that word Ga, which is supposed to be a twisted rope, was taken out of the Hebrew alphabet and replaced with iron. You can't do that with Hebrew, but they did that so that they can hide the definition of words. So when you put the Resh and the God together, that means dark man. The root word of God means dark man. Okay. So the arm is a strong dark man that is coming to harvest. No. An arm is representing power. In ancient Hebrew, is God, not iron, and it translated ancient Hebrew as the dark man securing the harvest. That's what the arm is. A dark man securing the harvest. So he said he's gonna send a strong black man to secure these people. So we sit back waiting on a strong black man. So you know what I'm saying? Not just strong in body, but strong in ruach. So he says that his strong black man is gonna bring salvation. Yeah, I mean, and by extension, strong black people, but who needs strong women when you got a strong man? It'll be better as a woman to let the man handle things. You know what I mean? You know, it's a blessing to be protected by a strong man. You know, you strong, silent type. You know what I'm saying? Not every strong man is a motor mouth. You know what I'm saying? But it's a blessing at a time like this, especially with this COVID thing. I could have been a single mother going through this by myself, but it's a blessing to have a strong black man saving me from the just the terror of just being alone in a lockdown. You know what I'm saying? Alone in the world.
Mm.
So anyway, so he says that he said his arm will bring salvation unto him, unto his people, unto his chosen people, and his righteousness will sustain you. You know what I'm saying? So what happens to a person when he is transformed into his arm? You almost finished. What happens to a person when he's transformed into his arm? What do you think happened? When you turn into his arm, which is being a strong black man securing the harvest, what do you think happens?
Okay.
You can, like, your arm can become strong.
Not just your arm, just your spirit is so strong that you can also change the world just through prayer.
Mhm.
So you could be like Elijah and fight your enemies just through having a strong ruach, or you could be like Samson, who could kill 1,000 heathens with just one little jawbone of an ox. You know what I'm saying? And you could be like David, who could kill a giant with just with a rock. You know what I'm saying? You could, like, it's just, the sky is the limit. Yeah, you got sisters out here like Judith. You know, she snuck in the camp and cut the king's head off of the enemy. Yeah, sister has a subtle role. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got some warrior sisters out there, but I would prefer to just sit back pretty and let the kings handle things.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? You know, because I just rather just be focused on protecting the children and preparing dinner, and what I'm saying, because like I get stressed out. When I gotta handle everything. It's a blessing to have a strong black man out there that's willing to fight for his people. You know what I'm saying? Because if all the brothers are standing up, it's gonna be already enough power out there to fight the enemies.
Mhm.
The sisters just sit back and protect the children while the men fight the enemies. You know what I'm saying? That's the idea. I'm just a Southern Belle. That's the way I like to have things. So Isaiah 59:17 through 21. So it's the same chapter. We're gonna read that right quick. So this is we're gonna finish this chapter up. 17 to 21.
For he put on righteousness as a breastplate and the helmet of Yahshua upon his head, and put on the garments of vengeance for clothing, and was clad with zeal as a cloak.
Wait, so that's what happens when you become an arm. You put on righteousness as a breastplate, a helmet of salvation, okay, upon his head. You put on the garments of vengeance for clothing. This is a warrior class man. This ain't just no weak. We shall overcome. Let's hold hands and beg the heathens to let us eat in their restaurants. I mean, I'm not trying to just mock what Martin Luther King was doing, but there's something even greater work for our people than just begging for the right to, be a part of white society. There's something greater than that. There's like complete utter destruction of the enemy. They don't want us thinking like that, but you got to. Okay, Malachi, you have to. You have to have a mind frame that I'm not going to be content with the way the world is until the enemy until I could be a light to the Gentiles, which means that I could gather them up and put them in order and put them in their place. Okay? It don't necessarily mean that I gotta kill all of the Gentiles in order to be happy. No, I'm just gonna have to get them in order. Same way I do at work. When the heathens get out of check, I have to put them in order. You know what I'm saying? And everything go back cool after that. You know what I'm saying? Once everybody know their place, I ain't had to even lift a finger. You can have a strong ruach and get all things done. So we're gonna skip. We're not gonna read the whole thing. I just saw that right there. So Ashley, you see that looks very familiar to something else we've been reading millions of times this year, and that is Ephesians chapter 6. The whole armor of Yah, verse 10. We go just run. You read a couple of verses out of Ephesians 6. So this is what happens when you become an arm of Yahuwah. Read 10 through 17. This is what you become, armor. You become a arm of Yahuwah when you put on the armor of Yahuwah. You understand? Put on the whole armor of Yahuwah.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahuwah and in power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yah, that he may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yah, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the Besorah of peace. Above all, taking the shield of belief, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of Yahshua, and the sword of the Ruach, which is the word of Yahuwah.
That's right. So that's what happens when you become armed. That's the only way you can function in this earth is when you become a vessel, a weapon of war. Okay. That's what your being in his image is all about. That's why Yahuwah Zavaoth, the Yahuwah of armies, if he the Yahuwah of armies, who is the army? Us. That's right. Yahuwah Zavaoth is his name. So if he's Yahuwah Zavaoth, we are supposed to be his arms, army, armor, arm. That's deep, ain't it? Because if we're not making him our arm, then we wasting our time. So read Jeremiah 17, verse 7 through 8. Let me move there. Let me get there right quick. Okay, go ahead.
Blessed is the man that trusts in Yahuwah, and whose hope Yahuwah is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreads out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat comes, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit.
So when you can only become the arm of Yahuwah when you trust in him. You can't be out here trusting some type of leader or some kind of worldly inspiration or joining some kind of worldly group that's not rooting and grounded in the word of Yahuwah, because it's just not going to work. You know what I'm saying? When you make Yahuwah your hope, we remember that lesson that we did about the river. What is the river? It has a root word in light. You're going to have the true light when you're like a tree planted by the river. Okay. When you're a tree planted by the river, your roots are going to run up underground and it's going to be connected to the river underwater. So even when it don't rain, you know what I'm saying? You're not counting on the rain because you're getting all your water from the river. Now, if a tree that's not planted by the river somewhere over there, when it don't rain, the leaves might fall and it might wither and die. But because you're planted by the water, you're going to receive your light regardless of whether or not it rains. You're going to receive your water whether or not it rains. Okay. That's the only kind of way you could be a functional arm. You're not focused on so much of an external factor to motivate you. There's going to be a light within you that's going to keep you going. You know what I'm saying? What happens to all these organizations like Black Panthers and Black Lives Matter? No, not Black Lives Matter, but all these other civil rights organizations. Once the leader got killed, it just kind of fizzled out because that light wasn't in them. They was focusing on a charismatic leader to lead a revolution. Once the charismatic leader is killed or jailed, the whole revolution is over. But Most High want to spark a light within you that if there is no group or there's no way to gather, if there's nowhere to go, that light in you is going to be so strong that you are going to still be a revolutionary, even just alone with yourself. Okay? So read verse. Wait. Read verse. Wait, hold on. Actually, I was supposed to read verse 5 through 6 before 7 through 8. So read at the top. Thus says Yahuwah.
Thus says Yahuwah, cursed be the man that trusted man and makes flesh his arm, and whose heart departs from Yahuwah. For he shall be like the juniper in the desert, and shall not see when good comes, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt and land, and not inhabit.
So he's saying that when you make flesh your arm, instead of making Yahuwah, the Ruach of Yahuwah is where you rely upon to get your power from. You're going to be like a tree that is only any that is going to be inhabiting a dry place. Yeah, you might blossom every now and then if there's a rain, like desert trees. They blossom and bloom every now and then when there's a rain. Okay, but for the most part, they're inhabiting a salt land and a dry place. You know what I'm saying? Just like a organization dries up once the leadership is destroyed. That's not the way he wanted. That's when you make flesh your arm. When you making a man the center of your ruach. That's when you are asking. I mean, you're like basically asking to be eventually destroyed when you follow up behind and make a flesh your arm. Okay. Now you're supposed to make Yahuwah, the ruach of Yahuwah is your arm. So let me so this is what the world is afraid of. When a black man makes righteousness his breastplate and he becomes an arm of Yahuwah, that's when he becomes unbeatable. As long as the enemy keeps you ensnared in iniquity, you are conformed in his image and cannot serve as a temple vessel of Yahuwah. Okay? So I'm gonna go to Luke chapter 16. We're not gonna read all those verses I have listed. We're gonna read verse because like I said, I read the whole chapter of any given when I pick a verse, so sometimes I make lessons too long because I be trying to read the whole chapter. Just read verse 13. Wait, this is the one that's underlined right here. No servant.
No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other.
Despise the other.
Yet cannot serve Yah and
Ye cannot serve Yah.
Ye cannot serve Yah and
Mammon. So you cannot serve Yah and money. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people that make flesh their arm, they was drawn to that flesh due to the influence of propaganda, money, and influence. Like, so you can't. This chapter is really deep because he tells a parable of how a servant was going to be fired from his job as a steward of his master's house because he wasn't doing his job. And then when he realized he was about to get fired, he ran out there and collected a whole bunch of debt that was owed to the master, and the master redeemed him. So he was able to redeem his position in the master's house through money. You know what I'm saying? And collect the money for the master. He said, Most High ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? If you up here running up behind a master because his ability to put you in a financial situation, you probably can't a man who has divided loyalties will never be loyal to the Most High. So he says that no servant can serve two masters, right? That's the same thing that I say that scroll up. The world is afraid of the black man putting on a breastplate of righteousness because that's where he gets the power of Yahuwah. So what do they do to block that? They block that by feeding the black man's mind with so much wickedness and immorality, because he know that's literally sapping out your power. He does that, to keep you all immoral and keep you all in the worldly sense, because the moment you start making righteousness your breastplate, you become a whole different being on this earth. So they know the principle of no one can serve two masters. You can't be in wickedness and righteousness at the same time. So they try to keep you over in wickedness as long as they can, because they know they have no power outside of that. So let's scroll down. Let's see what we got next. Because I might have to. Oh yeah, this is the last scriptures. We're gonna go to Genesis 49 and we'll be done. So remember when we did that lesson, um, verse 8 through 12. I don't have to put 8 through 12 on here. So this goes back to the prophecy about Judah. Okay. Judah had when Abraham was elderly and was about to pass away, he did prophecy, not Abraham, Isaac. I mean Jacob, sorry, I'm just, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. When Jacob was on his deathbed, he was prophesying over all his 12 sons. He gave each one of them a prophecy about his future, their future. Judah had his own specific prophecy. Okay, this is the prophecy that shows kind of like what the Most High is doing with us here in America right now with this awakening. So read that little push cancel. All right, read that Judah, Yehuda.
Yehuda, you are he whom your brethren shall praise. Your hand shall be in the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before.
So our purpose is to have our hand on the neck of the enemies. Continue.
Yehuda is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, you are gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion.
Yep.
He couched as a lion and as an old lion. Who shall ride? Who shall rouse
him up? So everybody's waiting. Everybody is holding their breath because they know when the Lion of Judah rises up, that it's gonna mean a whole lot of things to the world that they're not ready for. Verse 10.
The scepter shall not depart from Yahuwah, nor a Torah giver from between his feet until Shiloh come. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be.
So he's saying that when Yehuda rises up, that's when all of the gathering of the people is going to be. That's when the 12 tribes are going to regather. Okay, so all of prophecy is waiting on the tribe of Yehuda, especially in Mystery Babylon, to wake up. So when we do stuff like this, we're literally trying to fulfill these prophecies. Okay, verse 11.
Binding his fool unto the vine and his ass's coat unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes.
So that's it. Okay, go read that verse 12. Right quick.
His eyes shall be red with wine and his teeth with white milk.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to get to right here. Binding his foal to the vine. Foal. The root word for foal is ga-resh. That's that twisted rope again. Okay, that they took out of the alphabet. That means dark. Ga and resh means dark and city. Dark city. What dark city are we waiting to bind to the vine? No, the dark city is us, Jerusalem, Zion. Okay. He wants to bound Zion. He want to bring the children of Israel back into the covenant. Being a part of the vine is being in the covenant. The Messiah said, I am the vine, you are the branches. I'm the vine, you are the branches. So when you're saying you're binding his foal, which is a, let me move this to the side so I can see the scripture. 57, 58, 94. Okay, so it says binding his foal to a vine, his ass's coat to a choice vine. A foal is the ass's baby. It's like a baby jackass, a baby horse. Okay, so he's saying that he's binding that baby back to the vine. We're the foal. The foal also The root word for fold is dark and city. It's a pictograph of a god. It's a picture of a rope with the extended meaning of darkness. The resh is a picture of a head of a man. Combined, these mean the dark man. Okay, so when you go down and you look up the word fold, which is 5895, it says it's a cult, and it's called a gayar, which means a coat is called that because it's dark in color. Okay, so you talking about the root word of coat is dark man, the black man. Know what I'm saying? So he's coming to bind the black man back to the vine. Black mankind, man and woman. You know, you can say man and woman, but it's mostly sin. The world is counting on the children of Israel, the tribe of Judah is counting on the man to rise up. You know what I'm saying? Only time when you ever seen women rise up like that is when the man wasn't able or capable of doing whatever at the time. You know what I'm saying? But ideally, you're gonna want the men to be rising up and going to war, okay? So when he comes, when he send his ruach upon the earth, it's gonna bind the fold to the vine. Do you want him to bind the fold to the vine? Huh? No, no, you do want him to bind the fold to the vine, because that's how you fulfill the prophecy. Remember, I'm the vine, you're the branches. So a vine is a fold is a black man. He's coming to bind the black man to the vine. The vine is the covenant. I'm gonna ask you again. Do you want him to bind the fold to the vine? That's right. So you want the black man to become back united with the Most High, don't you? Then that's how you get created in his image. Okay? That's how you become an Elohim. Okay? So that's what the whole point of the lesson was, being created in his image. So, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So what I learned today was that
Come a little closer.
so what I learned today was that since we are the children of Elohim, we are his army. Like we are like when the heathens like go to war against the Israelites, we are his army on your side.
Yes.
Like we're battling the world right now.
Yes. Very good. What did you learn today?
Same thing. The arm, the armor, the breastplate.
That's right. So, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right. Shalom, everybody. Thank you for sitting in through this with me and my family, and Shabbat Shalom. This is Ye are Elohim, created in his image. So blessings to everyone. I will be making an article on this on www.yatube.com when I get the time. So until then, shalom, everybody.
Shalom.